Next. This was drawn by Krista Tilton. Notice the similarity. My student had never seen Krista Tilton in her life, had never read a UFO book, didn't know anything about any of this. Next. 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 This is Aviation Week in Space Technology, November 21st, 1988. Write that down because somebody's going to ask me. November 21st, 1988. You can find it in used bookstores and libraries. Next picture. In which this ad appeared, talking about technology so advanced it will help answer some big question, and on the facing page, what's there? This picture. On the side of the neck, there's hair growing. We did extensive analysis of this photograph. We rephotographed it, we relit it, we blew it up. We tracked down the photographer who would not tell us what it was he photographed. We asked originally to Amoco for the name of the artist who drew the picture. They said, I'm sorry, we can't reveal the name of the photographer. We found the photographer. He would not tell us what he photographed, but he sent us an 8x10 copy from the original negative, and then we began to work on that as well as with the ones we had photographed out of the magazine. And this is what Amoco told us. They told us several different things. First, they told us that it was a 9-foot-tall bronze statue. Second, they told us it was a 12-foot-tall bronze statue. And third, they told us it was a 9-inch clay statue. When we pressed for more information and became literally obnoxious on the phone, not accepting what they were telling us and wanting to see the original artwork, they refused and hung up on us. So, whereas I cannot say definitely that this is a live alien, I can tell you one thing, it is not a bronze statue. I can also tell you it's not a clay statue. And hair don't grow on the necks of statues. Next. You can see the moisture in the eye, the incredibly small detail in the texture of the skin and whatever this is, and in the eye. Look at the lip. You ever kissed anything like that before? I know a guy that did in the back seat of a Chevy. Next. Look at the incredible detail. I have never seen an artist in my life that was capable of doing this kind of work. But I haven't seen all the artists that there are either. Next. Look at the lines on the neck. Look at the detail in the arm. Next. Look at the hair on the neck. Can you see it? It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. That little fuzzy hair. Look at the lips. Look at the throat, the detail. The wrinkles. Next. Look at the moisture in the nostrils and tell me that's a bronze statue. Look at the moisture in the eyes. Look at the incredible detail in the folds of the eyes. Look at this bag under the eye. Next. I think they're trying to tell us something. Next. Next. These are letters from England that was a big hoax. Next. It purports that a alien craft crashed in the Kalahari Desert of South Africa is perpetrated by one guy named James Van Grunen. It's a total hoax. Don't believe it. If you want proof, write to me. If you think you can waste your time pursuing this, I'll give you the proof. Next. 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 Just keep on going right on through. 1917, the Imperial Japanese Mission, record of the reception throughout the United States, the special mission headed by Viscount Ishii. John Dewey, professor of philosophy at Columbia University, he's the one who built our education system that is not teaching our kids anything. He said, first sentence in his speech, someone remarked that the best way to unite all the nations on this globe would be an attack from some other planet. In the face of such an alien enemy, people would respond with a sense of their unity of interest and purpose. Next. Knowing who John Dewey was, and knowing what he's done to our educational system, and knowing that this was written and planned a long time ago, this is probably going on. Next. This is from the report from Iron Mountain. Credibility, in fact, lies at the heart of the problem of developing a political substitute for war. This is where the space race proposals, in many ways so well suited as economic substitutes for war, fall short. The most ambitious and unrealistic space project cannot of itself generate a believable external menace. It has been hotly argued that such a menace would offer the last best hope of peace, etc., by uniting mankind against the danger of destruction by creatures from other planets or from outer space. Experiments have been proposed to test the credibility of an out-of-our-world invasion threat. It is possible that a few of the more difficult to explain flying saucer incidents of recent years were in fact early experiments of this kind. Next. By guys like this. Next. Or this. You might know who this is? It's John Lilly, one of the fathers of the CIA mind control methods. Next. Is this what's going on? Next. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is the first chapter in my book. Once you read that, you will have a complete understanding of what's happening in one very important area. And you will get an understanding of what the elite think of us, the common man, the mass of ordinary, everyday people, which is what most of us really are. We're all special in our own way, but we are a part of the masses of people. They believe that we are cattle, that we do not use our intellect, that we are easily manipulated, that we will not solve the problems of the world because we are greedy scumbags. And because of that, we are nothing but stakes on the table for those who will use their intellect. And until we change that, they're going to treat us like cattle. And I've got to tell you right now, on a daily basis, we prove them right. Next. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., V, many others. Many movies. We've been bombarded with alien movies, alien commercials, an alien spaceship landing at the end of the 1984 Olympics to reinforce in our consciousness the creation of an alien threat that does not exist, or to wake us up to an alien presence that has been here for many years. It's not an accident that these things are happening. It's not an accident that you're seeing on your TV. Was ITT or ATT? ATT, one world, one card. These aren't accidents. Right out here in the lobby of this church, you see a picture of the world on the bulletin board. And go, when you leave, just look what it says. Next. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not opposed to a one-world government at all. I think in the evolutionary future of mankind, it is absolutely necessary and unavoidable. What I'm opposed to is being manipulated into something I know nothing about, and knowing the fact that if I have to be manipulated into it, I'm not going to like it. And knowing that the best government that's ever been created on the face of this earth is going to be destroyed in the process. And that we're going to lose our Constitution and our Bill of Rights in the process. That's what I'm opposed to. I want to be included. I want to help them decide what this is going to be, so that I can be satisfied with whatever it turns out to be. Stephen J. Kurzweil, MD. I've met this man, I've talked to him, I've researched this case thoroughly. This is his credentials, his curriculum vitae. Look at who this man is. This is no flake. This is a medical doctor with many degrees, a lot of credentials and memberships in many of the medical society, what do you call them? Associations, I guess. He's also Phi Beta Kappa and an Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. This guy has the credentials that most people would drool for. What happened to him? I'm going to show you his testimony here in a couple of minutes. What happened to him, he was approached by someone named Joan Thompson at a not at a UFO meeting, to attend a UFO meeting. He said he really wasn't interested, but went because she was a pretty woman, and he wanted to meet her. He went with her. It was like a date. He said what he learned there astounded him. He never heard of any of that stuff. But he also met somebody named Bud Hopkins. Joan Thompson told him that she was an agent of the Central Intelligence Agency, and Bud Hopkins identified himself as also being an agent of the Central Intelligence Agency and recruited this doctor to help them work with abductees and report information to the Central Intelligence Agency. He worked with them for a while until he found out that Bud Hopkins had no credentials whatsoever, was an artist, a painter, but was hypnotizing people who had been abducted, was conducting group psychology therapy sessions with them, was extracting as much information as he could out of them and then dumping them like a hot potato. And this man, Stephen Kurzweil, MD, with all these credentials, reported Bud Hopkins to the New York State medical authorities, and nothing happened to Bud Hopkins. Stephen Kurzweil, on the other hand, was charged for being delusional, and they're trying to take his medical license away from him, because he told them that Bud Hopkins was engaged in this research of alien abductions that the government was covering up, and he was judged to be delusional. We have all the documentation, the medical reports, everything. Next. It's all in my book. These are the official charges that the state of New York brought against him. It's incredible. Next. Schizoid personality disorder. Grandiose and paranoid type. Next. This is his testimony, sworn under penalty of perjury, signed and notarized. It's in my book. It proves the assertion that I've been saying all along, that most of the people that you ever see on the stage of a UFO symposium are working for the government. When they have a show on TV like UFO Cover-Up Live, which William Moore participates in, who is an admitted government agent, with all the others, and then they give a phone number at the end for you to call in to tell if you've ever had an abduction experience, and you go to your phone and call the CIA and tell them that you have had one. That's right, gotcha. You guys better start being careful, and you better start listening to those of us who are really looking for the truth and not trying to bullshit you. We are being manipulated on a grand scale by people who know what the hell they're doing. And if we don't wake up, we're going to be wherever they want us to be, and only we're going to discover that that's not where we want to go. Next. This. Oh. In my original paper, The Secret Government, which I published May the 23rd, 1989, I said that there had been a military coup in the United States. I documented in my book. 3 other people have confirmed that they saw the same message that I did, and that message was, before Nixon resigned. Nixon was not going to resign. He didn't think that they could impeach him. And I don't know whether he could or not. Nobody will ever know because no trial occurred. But the Joint Chiefs of Staff sent a message to all military commanders of all the military forces, and the message said, upon receipt of this message, you will no longer accept any orders from the White House. Acknowledge receipt. That's unconstitutional. That is a military coup. Nixon was forced to resign because they yanked the military out from under him. They cut off his communications to his commands because those communication centers are under control of the military. In my book, it's documented. You no longer have to take my word for it. Nobody believed me when I published that at first. But now 3 other people have come forward and stated that they saw exactly the same message that I saw. And that's in my book. Their names, everything. Their statements, sworn statements. This is the sworn statement of David Race. It is notarized on the original. You can see the notary seal, which didn't photograph very well. Next. He also named 4 other witnesses that saw it with him. Richard Doty. This is extremely interesting. Richard Doty. Richard Doty was the agent in shadow called Falcon on UFO Cover-Up Live. I also found reference to a project called Project Mogul, which you have to remember that it was in July 1947 that the Roswell crash supposedly took place. You have to remember this William Moore, confessed government agent who researched and wrote the Roswell incident. It's Richard Doty, Falcon, who's been working with Moore for years to supply him information. Richard Doty is the counterintelligence agent for the Air Force Office of Special Investigation at Kirtland Air Force Base. These are the notes of an interview that Barry Greenwood did with Richard Doty. It's funny that Project Mogul, a project that released balloons on July the 3rd from Holloman Air Force Base, which floated in the direction of Roswell Air Force Base, on July the 3rd, 1947, and these balloons were coated with thin aluminum sheathing. Now go back and remember the description that Jesse Marcel gave of what he found in the field on Brazel's Ranch. And the man in charge of that Project Mogul was Richard Doty's father. That's significant. We are now in the process of getting documentation through the Freedom of Information Act to prove this. Next. I'm saying that we can no longer accept that a UFO crashed on the basis of the evidence that we now have. We've got to find out there's something else to this. We have a Project Mogul that released balloons on July the 3rd near Roswell, New Mexico. It's coated with thin sheeted aluminum. No, it wasn't. No. No. They also released balloons from Project Mogul also in June, on several dates in June of 1947. What I'm saying is that Richard Doty is participating in putting out phony flying saucer information to the world, and his father was in charge of Project Mogul, that we need to look at this more closely. That's what I'm saying. Balloons were also released in June of 1947. The crash at Roswell occurred in July. Well, you have to also understand that you're taking the word. You have no evidence. You're taking the word of an intelligence officer who may be participating in creating something for you to believe that doesn't exist.
Let's talk about it later.
Listen to me very carefully. One of the best ways to bring about a one-world government and get you to accept the destruction of your Constitution and the loss of the sovereignty of this nation is to create an artificial alien threat from outer space so that all humanity will give up whatever they have to and band together to face this threat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm presenting evidence to you that should make you want to do some more investigating before you believe anything. And I specifically stated at the beginning of this lecture, I don't want you to believe anything that I say or anything that I show you, but I want to create enough curiosity and maybe anger and maybe a lot of other things in you that you help me start looking for the truth. That's what I'm about.
Earlier, you said that you would explain why the government spent billions of dollars on stealth aircraft and other conventional aircraft with this technology that we have. Why are they so ignorant of the fact that we have this kind of technology, if that be the case?
I've already explained it to you, sir. Some people can't, and I know it's hard to put all this together. You saw that there's a population problem. The technology that they're hiding from us would make us live longer, would give us better lives, would give us a source of possibly free energy or next to free energy, would probably give us methods in which to kill most, if not all, illnesses and diseases. And their goal is to cut back the population. They're not suppressing cancer cures so doctors can get rich. They're suppressing cancer cures so more people will die. So that they don't have to come out and say, you and you and you up against the wall, it's your day to get killed. They make it appear to be natural, or as natural as they possibly can. That's why.
Can you talk about AIDS?
This is a letter no, that's in the book. I'm not going to get into AIDS today. That's in the book. This is a letter that was written to the White House to Mr. Fitzwater, who was Reagan's press guy. And what he wanted to know is who wrote the paragraphs about aliens that Bush inserted into the end of 6 speeches that he gave during his administration. Most people don't even remember that he said those things, but he did. Next slide. What Marvin Fitzwater wrote back was that the president himself inserted those paragraphs. They were not put in there by the speechwriters. One of the speeches was to Boston High School students and faculty. Next. In which he said, I couldn't, but one point in our discussion privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet outside in the universe. Do you think all this stuff is coincidence? I hope you're beginning to wake up. He said this 6 times in 6 speeches in his administration. This is come together one world government stuff. This is alien threat from outer space stuff. 6 times the president said it. Next. To the General Assembly of the United Nations. Next. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our difference worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? What would a one-world government do? Abolish war. What is the threat that will bring it about? An alien threat from outer space. Please wake up. Next. In my book, I document the things our own Congress and our own people have been doing to destroy the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and join the one world order. Document it. I don't just say it, I document it. Most people don't know what goes on in Congress from day to day. They can pass anything they want to and you would never know it until they come and bang on your door and throw you in jail because you didn't know it. Next. That's right. But they're not there because they know that most people aren't watching and don't give a damn. The backbone of hidden government. This is documented in my book, NSDDs, National Security Decision Directives, National Security Memos, the fact that they write memos and write law outside of Congress and the executive branch, and most of it is signed by auto pen. The president never sees it. Next. And next. And next. And these are some of the things that they've done. There's no time to go into it. Next. Next. This is the United States with the Soviet Union into a one-world government. That's from an organization called Free, put out by Johnny Stewart. The address over there, it's in my book. You want to know why you can't get the truth off of television, radio, or the newspapers? CFR owns, controls them. Barbara Walters, all of them are members of the CFR. Next slide. This is the super world government. I have the Bush administration.